Let's break this bitch down. Act 1. Let's set some stuff up.
Man, I have been looking forward to this for a really long time since I first watched this movie. I was not looking forward to writing the breakdown. That I've been dreading forever. But the moment that we could sit down and actually talk about this movie with all of our notes all put down on paper, I've been waiting for this for a long time. Here we go. Our film is brought to us today by Patriot Pictures and Untitled Entertainment. Oh, and Booze Booze Bang Bang and 11 Arts Films. Oh, and of course Saturn Films and XYZ Films. In association with Scion Productions, Komodo Productions, and Union Patriot Capital Management, LLC. Everybody got that? Okay. All right. Now that we have listed everyone who contributed their $8.50 to get this piece of crap made, let's begin this film.
It's always a great sign when your movie makes you sit through 7 studio logos.
Yes.
You're like, when the hell does the movie start?
It's like that Family Guy's bit where there's like, is this the movie? Oh, cool. It looks like a action adventure on the sea.
While I watched it, yeah. And the funny thing was I had subtitles on, and it even subtitles the music for the studio. It would be like ominous music playing. And then it's like, oh, cool, the movie's starting. Nope, it's not a studio logo.
Oh, here we go. No. XYZ. Okay. Our story begins in a colorful IKEA version of a bank in Japan where everyone dresses like a cartoon character. A little kid with a mask on backwards excitedly smiles at a gumball machine while already holding a cup full of gumballs. Suddenly, the greatest actor of all time storms in with a double-barrel shotgun to rob this IKEA bank. But this does nothing to dampen the little kid staring at the gumball machines' spirits. Nick's partner in crime, Nick Cassavetes, sports the same shaved head he had in Face Off, but this time he's added some fun eyeliner to the mix. Which I have to wonder, because he surprised John Woo with that shaved head and his whole look for Face Off, and I kind of wonder, did he surprise Scion Sono with this look with the eyeliner? And he was like, perfect.
If he says that he modeled the hero after Choi, then I have a feeling he's like, ooh, shave your head, please.
Please. And thank you. I was going to make a rape joke, but I'm not.
Yeah, I was thinking it too.
Yeah.
I guess he was pretty confused by that weirdo kid smiling his ass off, holding gumballs in front of a gumball machine while his mom screams in terror due to there being an armed robbery going on. So he shot the kid in the face. No, I kid. He didn't do that yet. We cut to another Japanese whimsical, obvious set where I guess TVs don't exist because everyone in the town seems to sit vacant-eyed staring at the street while cherry blossoms fall from the sky. A samurai-looking dude goes inside, which prompts a girl to whistle loudly for 3 other girls to escape this charming compound, because God knows he'd have never heard that whistle through the literal paper-thin door he just shut.
1 second after he went inside.
The second he closes the door that's like, that is paper, right? Those
right.
doors. I've always wondered, I know most Japanese people probably don't live in those style of houses anymore, but how do you keep that thing warm? It's cold in Japan in the winter.
I don't know. I would assume it's pretty well insulated because wood, and I think paper can make decent insulation. But I mean, they must have been doing it right because they've done it for how many thousands of years they did it for. So
maybe it's really thick paper. They always make it look like it's like construction paper when they fight through them and stuff.
Yeah. I think it's probably double paned too, so there's like a layer. It's like with window
double
glass,
paned paper.
I think it is double layered, so it traps that air between the two, and then you get some insulation that way.
Yeah. A woman gives the only non-Japanese girl in the town a bracelet of hope that she took off of her neck while her titties hang out for some reason. Yes. Off to an amazing start.
Scion Sono. That's why they were hanging out.
It's the only nudity in the entire film.
and there's no point.
And
It's pointless.
I mean, I guess maybe he was going for some mother allegory or something there. And I think that's the same woman who is Yasujiro's sister.
Yes. Yeah, I rewatched the opening to see that, and yeah, it is.
Okay. I don't know what the connection is. I mean, maybe she's going for a daughter thing, and that he wanted to show the mother thing of like having the press up, but it was just like, wow, that's weird and off-putting for no reason.
Right.
These three girls make their stealthy escape while like 40 girls hang outside yelling at them to hurry up.
The great escape.
And they Naruto run down the hall, like down the street to get out. Put their arms out and run.
It reminded me of everybody storming Area 51.
They rejoice once they get into a car that they're free, but I guess they didn't get very far because the film cuts to a guy who looks like Freddy Krueger in the Toxic Avengers love child, some guys cosplaying as samurais, and I think that guy who wore horns during the Capitol insurrection.
QAnon shaman.
The non-Japanese girls, who is Bernice. I mean, there are a couple of other girls in this harem from the governor's spoilers. They're all sex slaves, but the governor's like group of girls. There are a couple non-Japanese, but not. I think Bernice is like the only one. Sofia Boutella. I don't know. I don't know where she's from. I'm assuming somewhere in there.
Didn't you say Algerian in the breakdown?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. I was the one who did the research, and I still didn't. Okay. Bernice wakes up in terror to find she's surrounded by children. I know I'd be terrified.
Ditto.
She wakes up later, and she's in the exact same spot. She doesn't have all the children around her that second time, but it looks like it was shot like right after each other. Like,
yeah, I thought it was the same scene. I didn't realize it was a different shot.
Yeah. She walks outside sweaty and covered in filth, only to find she's in a Pink Floyd fever dream of some sort.
Hello.
There are creepy mannequins everywhere, some shoddy scaffolding.
Time starts playing the clock.
It feels like that, right? It feels like...
Yeah, it feels like a Floyd music.
Yeah. There are creepy mannequins everywhere, some shoddy scaffolding, guys arbitrarily walking around with torches for no good reason, and a group of people with a long piece of rope stopping the second hand of a comically oversized clock from ticking.
It's a doomsday clock.
That's what, yeah. I mean, you know, I get, we'll get to it, but like we
don't have to dive into this.
Obviously, they're going for this like post-apocalyptic, nuclear war thing. I'm not sure. I asked the question later on, but when they let the second clock go, it's 8:15.
Yeah, that's when Hiroshima was bombed.
Was it really? Okay.
Yeah.
I knew there had to be something, but
yeah.
Okay. She has a mini freak out and then screams, "I'm not a prisoner," for no discernible reason whatsoever.
I just listened to that Miley Cyrus song.
I mean, so I guess, these are the prisoners of the Ghostland in this group. But does she already knows that she's a prisoner in this? It's been like a day since she's been missing. Or like hours, really.
Yeah.
I guess
which we don't know at the time.
She is.
But like she knows about the Ghostland, I would assume.
I guess.
So I'm guessing that's why she says
I'm
not
not supposed to be here.
Yeah. Okay.
Wasn't even supposed to be here today.
Then we cut to the title card of the movie, which I think was designed by the same guy who made the Willy's Wonderland title card. Hey, I made this in MS Paint in 2 minutes, but it should give you an idea of what I'm going for. It's perfect. But I could animate it or something. No. Exactly what I'm going for. Next, we see 10 glory holes in a red wall with women sticking their heads through, chanting, "Kagome, Kagome, when oh when will it come out? In the night of dawn, the crane and turtle slipped. Who is behind you now?" while rotating their heads in a circle. I've watched this movie 3 times, broken it down scene by scene, and none of that makes any sense in the slightest still. Like, I don't have any idea what the hell that was supposed to be about. Maybe there's something with Japanese mythology that I'm missing because I'm a white guy. Write us at onecagepodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot we're missing.
Yes.
Yeah. I thought those were the lyrics to Jeremiah Sand's album, one of his songs.
Not weird and stupid enough for you yet? Next, we see a long-haired Japanese cowboy playing kickball with some kids while some guys smacks dust off of a lamp with a French tickler of some sort, and another guy throws darts at a dartboard being held by a guy standing 2 feet away from him while a 50s jukebox plays electro cowboy music.
Yeah, at that scene, I was watching it with my wife and was like,
That was the moment she left the room, right?
yeah, pretty much. I was like, this is what the whole movie's like. So there, you've seen the whole movie.
You've seen the whole movie.
Such a pointless imagery.
We see Nicolas Cage in a diaper drug out into the street while a car pulls into this one dirt road town, while like a dozen girls clap and chant "Governor" around it, and that samurai guy from earlier hangs out the back window of the car for some reason.
He's a rock star.
Everyone seems overly excited as if Kim Jong-un just came to town. It reminds me of that, like that.
That forced
fanatic, fanatic devotion, so that you're not murdered by this person. Which I think that's what he was going for.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's supposed to be symbolic of like, this is how the Japanese felt about America after the bomb.
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
I think I mentioned
we worship you.
White guy, white suit, red hands, blood on his hands. I think it's supposed to represent like America and Russia, these threats of nuclear annihilation from these 2 white superpowers that are just interested in money and pretty much nothing else. And that's turns out the governor is a dusty old white guy who wears an all-white suit, white cowboy hat, and red gloves, almost like he has blood on his hands. Am I right, guys? The cowboy hat he's America, obviously.
Texas.
He is Texas.
America. He is Texas. Texas governor. Tex McAdoo.
He did look like him, right?
Yeah, he did. He really did.
Nick gets drug out in front of a bunch of samurais and ninjas or something, a few extras from Cobra Kai, and a bunch of guys dressed like cowboys. I mean, okay, so like there's a breakdown at one point I saw online that said, this is like a post-apocalyptic thing where they kind of like threw together different cultures all into this one little town, but it's like cowboys who obviously have never done any cowboy things. It's like brand new, perfectly clean cowboy outfits.
Yeah.
And then like 9 million samurais in that town. One of the cowboys calls Nick a cocksucker motherfucker. All the girls in town giggle and take pictures of Nick in a sumo suit with smartphones, while some other girls say,
"Let me see your balls."
Yeah, there's a weird balls motif in this movie.
Yeah. I think it's also the power of man over women. There's that going on. And there's some rape stuff going on, which I'm sure Science Sono had a lot of fun making. Allegedly, he hasn't been convicted of any of this stuff. So dragging him through the mud for nothing. He's going to come out squeaky clean like Bill Cosby's. All of this seems to make Nick pretty confused. I mean, it's a lot to take in. Heads doing circles, chanting, Japanese cowboys, girls asking to see your balls, Otis from House of a Thousand Corpses in a stupid cowboy hat. What a crazy break from sitting in a jail wearing a diaper.
The sheriff looks like Asian Chum-Li from Pawn Stars.
Some doofus in a bolo tie kicks a ball at the governor, and he gets mad because he doesn't want his white boots scuffed up. So he kicks the ball at Nick, and then Nick kicks the ball at some girls, Guys, I'm afraid I might have had an aneurysm. Is this all happening? Is this actually happening in this movie?
Unfortunately, yes.
Then the governor says,
They say you're a veritable phantasm.
yep, definitely having an aneurysm. He goes on to say our hero has slipped through the law's hands more time than any other man alive. So I guess that's why he's a phantasm, because he can just magically get away from the cops.
No, it's another ball motif. It's the flying silver ball from Phantasm.
Yeah. I was really hoping that the tall man would show up behind a cowboy and say,
save the movie.
never cross the line, hero. Never cross the line.
If you end up in the Ghostland, it's because I wanted you to.
Careful I don't snip off your fingers. Deadfall. Nobody watched that. Okay.
Yeah.
Not even our episode. According to YouTube.
Lay one finger on the woman. It's a major faux pas.
These jokes just for us. I love it.
I love it.
He says Hero killed a bunch of people in that IKEA bank from the beginning that inexplicably had like open flame torches lighting it. I don't know if you noticed that. There's just open flames in the bank. I don't know
There's
what they
way
were
too
going
much
for
shit
there.
to notice.
But yeah. And he also says that that Hero, Nick Cage, killed that little kid with the gumballs. Weren't there other kids? Oh, never mind. He tells him his granddaughter Bernice has been lost and he wants Hero to return her because, you know, he's a murdering bank robber who is good at evading capture from the law. So he's the perfect choice.
Yeah. Yada, yada, yada. We've all seen Escape from New York. Just that.
I think, you know, I'm not entirely sure what Yasujiro and Nick Cage are supposed to represent. I thought maybe Yasujiro was like the old Japan and Nick Cage represents like new ideals in America and not the old like conservative values and more of the more left-leaning values of I don't know exactly what that is, but also he's a criminal and
yeah. Maybe it's like the new Western ideals that the Japanese people like to embrace. You know, it's like he's so cool, you know, and you know he could action film star or whatever. But it's like Yasujiro is like the old ways that were held captive,
old stoic ways. Yeah,
and they latched onto the culture. I mean, geez, think about pre-World War II Japan versus post, and just
so I think Yasujiro is supposed to be like that.
Yeah, like the old Japan.
That caged Japan that's basically being held captive by this by the American or the Western governor.
Right.
Yeah. Then have you guys seen that like this new movement in Japan where they're like dressing as greasers and racing hot rods up and down the street? Like
that's
maybe
so
Nick
funny,
Cage
really.
is supposed to be that, yeah. That kind of like new Western influence on Japan. I like that take. He gives Hero a leather suit while some chick with an overbite who may or may not be handicapped repeats Bernice over and over in the back of the governor's car before screaming and jumping out of the car while holding a toy robot. Are any of these details important? Who the fuck knows?
It's the same chick that whistles at the start to signal that Bernice and the two other women can leave. Yeah. But like she seems all there in that scene and like totally normal. So it's like maybe she got tortured and went insane or something.
As hell until like the
beat
final
the shit out of
couple
her.
Scenes.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned it, but I was like, is she supposed to be like a little kid? Like we're supposed to assume that she's like 14 or something.
I didn't get that.
Or she's traumatized and that's why she acts this way. Or is she actually like kind of handicapped? She acts normal once Bernice gets back to her.
Yeah.
It also like really paints the jumping on the minigun scene differently if you think of her as being handicapped. Nick puts on the leather suit while a group of girls sketch him for some reason and giggle when he throws his filthy diaper at them. Then the overbite girls start singing and everyone in the town joins in. Cowboys, heads in the wall, samurais, kabuki girls, a sketch artist drawing Nicolas Cage's dick. The whole lot of them just singing together. We're not even 15 minutes into this thing. It's just... Anyways.
I was really hoping they show us that sketch.
I think it would have been comically like Willem Dafoe sized.
Yeah.
Let me just say, my score would have improved drastically.
Same. Would have had some new fat material.
I zipped my pants up and stormed off in anger.
I was waiting for it when they were sketching the diaper. Then when they erased it, I was like, oh, here we go.
All right, let's go.
The governor tells Hero where to find the girl, and a guy screams, "It's ghosts! Ghosts, I tell you!" for no reason whatsoever. While the sheriff, Chumlee from Japanese Chumlee, tells him to shut up. Big fat cowboy, long hair, sheriff. Okay.
Chumlee.
The governor says they're not ghosts, but instead godless sodomites. Meanwhile, all his 20 or so granddaughters are his personal sex slaves. Spoilers, just so you know. Sodomites. He's upset about the sodomites out there.
Yeah.
He gives Hero a photo of Bernice, and he says, and Hero says, "I can see why you want her back." Because he knows exactly what's going on here. Which pisses off the samurai faction of this street. So they attack him, and he throws a couple to the ground while the rest of the crowd claps and sings again. Jesus Christ, I hate this movie. Samurai guy who likes to hang out the window of moving cars forces everyone away from Hero so he can take him on one-on-one or something, and they smile at each other. What in the ever-loving fuck is going on? Seriously.
Oh, don't worry. The movie will explain it eventually. Oh, wait.
No.
Eventually.
No. That was me.
Yeah.
I like the first act of this movie. I was like,
Well,
okay,
makes
this is
sense.
cool. Weird world building. Let's see how this all shakes out.
Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen. Nope. The governor says no one has ever been a worthy opponent of Yasujiro, the samurai guy who hangs out car windows. So don't fuck with him, I guess. That's it on that. Never had a worthy opponent. Fights every samurai in the town. Nick Cage beats him in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Hero lunges at the town people a few times in a very Cajun manner. That thing. Before zipping up his jacket and activating what the governor describes as a suit equipped with explosives that in actuality looks like something you would buy in the toy aisle at Target or something, or Spirit Halloween. It's like a fake leather jacket with like sewn on light up like alien eggs
buttons,
or something.
Nodes.
The explosives are connected to a neurosensor that can recognize the impulse of a man intending to strike a helpless woman, even though none of the suit is touching his brain or anything. Like, is this supposed to be the future? Like, are we supposed to assume that this is the future? They were like using regular smartphones, and they're
I
driving
just
normal
assumed
cars.
it was its own world. It doesn't matter. It's like an anime. It doesn't have to be set anywhere in our world. It's just it just exists.
Yeah, maybe it's like Face Off with like we just put technology that doesn't exist at all in modern day. If he strikes a woman, detonation will occur, and if he gets any kind of like kinky ideas, some explosives will blow off his nuts. Just so we're clear, that's what the nut explosives are for: is to blow off his nuts.
Chekhov's nut explosive. Just keep it in mind for later.
Yeah. He tells him if he brings back Bernice within 5 days, he'll walk away a free man. And if not, he'll blow up or whatever. Oh, and she has to speak Hero into Hero's arm box thingy.
Pip Boy.
Yeah. Pip Boy. She has to say it into his little speaker arm box by day 3, or he'll die in 3 days instead of 5. Spooky handicapped girl screams for the governor not to give her sister to Hero, while she cackles and shows everyone her toy robot. She must be super freaky in bed, is all I'm saying. That's why the governor keeps her around, you know? God. They give him a car, which he drives 10 feet and then promptly jumps out of and takes off on a little girl's bike.
takes fucking Pee Wee Herman's bike. Big adventure.
Pee Wee Herman's bike is way cooler than this.
Yeah.
Oh man, our favorite Nick Cage recurring trope: his utter and absolute inability to ride a bike.
It's so good. It's my favorite part of the movie.
I do.
So he rides away on a girl's bike like he has rickets, while the doofus with the bolo tie calls him a badass, and a cowboy says he's so cool.
What a badass.
So cool.
Except the guy, the guy's just badass. Like, he's never said it before. He's like, what a badass.
Badass.
Go to this coffee shop and get a biscotte.
Biscotte.
Then the samurai guy like smirks at him like he's finally found the love of his life or something. Like, why? What?
That guy can ride a bike.
What the fuck is what?
Him.
Because he left
was
the
so
car
impressed.
behind.
Yeah, he was so impressed by Nick's or Hero's desire to ride a bike, even though knowing he looks like a total fucking idiot riding a bike. He doesn't care. He just has that devil may care attitude.
Is it because he rode in the opposite direction, like he was trying to escape? What the hell? Why is he a badass? Why is he so cool? Why is the samurai guy smirking at him? My brain is fucking hemorrhaging at this point. Like, what the fuck is happening? What the fuck is the point of any of that?
Yeah. I think that part only exists because the director is a fan of Nicolas Cage movies and is in on the joke that we also have, and he just looks so stupid when he rides a bike.
Bicycle. Make him ride one.
It did. It looked like
I want to
Kermit.
put Nick Cage on the bike. Kermit from the.
It looked like Kermit riding a bike. Like, it's just
Too bad Herzog didn't do that.
Yeah. Oh man. Coked out
Nothing
Nick
is
Cage.
cooler.
And he looks so uncomfortable
on
too.
a bike.
Like his look on his
Yeah.
face, he's just like,
Yeah.
He's like, God damn it again.
Nick, can
Wobbling
you
all over
ride
the
a
place.
bike? No, I cannot. Samurai guy speeds after him and gives him the keys to the car again. So Nick says, "Not much time, huh?" And rings the bell to the bike a couple times and then drives away in the car. Every fucking second of this movie is utter nonsense. What?
there's something about time. There's a motif about time in the
Yeah.
movie that I haven't been able to decipher.
Yeah.
Just like the motif about balls that I haven't fully been able to decipher.
I'm saying the balls is, rape. He's like making a talk about men just feeling like they have control over women. And also because, well, we know.
Yeah, but like the gumballs that go
Allegedly.
flying everywhere.
Yeah.
Like him kicking the little kids kicking balls around at the start, and
So you're saying more of like balls and maybe not testicles.
both. Like it's just this thing. That's the thing about this movie that drives me insane is that it feels like there's a bunch of stuff that you should be picking up
Yes.
on,
Yeah.
but so much of it doesn't connect to anything and doesn't actually be something. It's weird for the sake of being weird. So
Yes.
you never know what you should be trying to analyze and what you shouldn't. So the result is that you just stop
Yeah,
caring. Because
exactly.
It's you never know if you're wasting your time or if it's just showing you gibberish or if something actually is supposed to mean something. But even if it does mean something, it's never made clear. So there's no reward for trying to assume,
Yeah.
interpret one way or the other.
Completely lost in the incoherence throughout.
Yeah.
Hero drives until he runs into that guy from the Capitol riot and his buddies being attacked by a lens flare for some reason.
Michael Bay.
They make dumb faces at him while being coated in dust and then hit him with some bright lights and an annoying buzzing noise. So he speeds straight at them. No, that's it. They're ghosts,
As one
I
does.
guess. So,
Yeah. They're the demon bikers from Mandy.
except stupid.
Yeah.
Except stupid.
Cosplaying as samurai.
Maybe that's what happened with Science Ono watched Mandy and he was like, let's take that. A little bit from Road Warrior here, a little bit from Mandy over here, a little Vampire's Kiss, a little Deadfall,
Yeah.
little Wild at Heart. So I'll put it together in an incoherent stew. Apparently, they caused him to wreck his car by mean mugging him because next we see him crashed on the side of the road next to a classroom in the middle of a burnt out field where pages of books are blown by the wind, but there's no signs of kids or anything. Symbolism.
He's laying on the road in a Family Guy sprawl. Arms tucked all weird. PETA.
Why would he just fall out of the car?
And the car didn't even look damaged.
It wasn't
like
damaged at all. He like drove onto an
car.
embankment and then he fell out of the door.
He fell out of the car. This is why wearing your seatbelt's important, children.
I guess he was supposed to have driven towards the ghosts, and then he was supposed to have driven into this wall, but there's no damage on the car or anything.
But it's like, he drove through the ghosts because they're not actually there.
Yeah.
And then crashed the car.
Yeah.
So our hero's bright idea to confront these guys in a giant bus in samurai armor is just crash straight into them.
Just try right at him. Yeah, that works. I guess that's what happened with Bernice and her friends too. Is like they drove at them and then they all fell out of the car in different directions and they were all taken to different spots.
Separated.
Somehow. We cut to some more absolute nonsense of people throwing gumballs in the air, people with dumb masks on their face holding Japanese pinwheels, bubbles, and Nick Cage heading to the Bloofer Bank. Hey, wasn't that Bubba's name in Forrest Gump, like his middle name? Benjamin Buford Blue. The Bloofer Bank. The BLEUFEUR. Is that something that I'm supposed to understand? Like, is that like one of the guys who worked on the atom bomb or something?
Maybe. I don't know.
Weren't there like 13 guys that worked on the atom bomb?
It's probably at this point.
onecagepodcast@gmail.com. Then it cuts to some Japanese girls in white sheets in front of a concrete wall Sion Sono seems to have used in every other shot in this movie. Because why not? More like his victims, I guess, is what that's supposed to be, because we find that out later. They and those little kids with their hands over the blue square that looks like a U2 album cover. Those are his victims. There's a lot of kids in there. Killed a lot of children for fun, I guess. Yeah. Or I guess that was supposed to be the kids that Psycho, which is Nick Cassavetes' his character, was supposed to kill. But I guess he considers those his victims.
Yeah.
Maybe because he didn't stop him from killing them. He feels guilt.
I guess, yeah. He is like, we'll get to it, but he's like stoked to see him. Like, hey, murderer, what's going on? We see Hero on a cart, some goth chick with electric centipedes on her arms, and some goofy-looking Peter Pan-esque Lost Boys with robot voices, dressed like how I'd imagine kids would dress themselves if they had a lot of random plumbing parts and a hot glue gun laying around, all just shrieking nonsense at Nick. Get used to that.
Watch this movie with subtitles.
I did. I still was like, what?
There's times when they actually translate what the Rat Man's saying, and there's other times where it doesn't. So it's like,
same with the Japanese. Like, I call it out a few times of like, they say Japanese things to him and it's not translated at all. I'm like, okay, well, that makes no sense then, because we don't speak Japanese. You made an English-speaking film. They take him to an abandoned oil refinery or something filled with creepy mannequins and guys dressed in fire-retardant suits walking around with torches for some reason, which I guess was supposed to be like you see those scenes of like post-Chernobyl where they're like walking around in those suits with the flames, and I think it was supposed to like burn off the radiation or something. I don't know what the idea was there, but I think that's what they were going for. We never see them again, just in this one scene. Then a town full of kids dressed in toilet paper with white umbrellas welcome Nick and some girl with blue hair by moaning and shouting shit at them while a guy dressed like a vampire in a top hat wanders nearby. Little cookie, stay with us, that guy.
Yeah.
I fucking hate this movie so much. I hate it. The Babadook, yeah. By the way, after this scene, we never see the toilet paper people ever again either. And I think that was also, the welcome. Yeah, it's welcoming it. This is how they welcome everybody. They bust out the toilet paper, and they go crazy. I think that was also something with nuclear radiation. I feel like I've seen that somewhere before. Those kids with like toilet paper or like some sort of white over the top of them. I don't know. I feel like it was something out of an 80s music video.
Victims or something.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Like bandages.
They're all wrapped in bandages.
Yeah, okay. I'll take that. They take them to the big stupid clock we saw from earlier, while a bunch of chimney sweep looking kids dance like idiots and toilet paper people do the YMCA dance. It's like Heart of Darkness on acid, but dumb. We see the people trying to keep the second hand on the clock from moving with a rope. Then some girl wipes blood from Nick's head and says, "He has thick red blood. The prophecy is true. Time will move again." So he's supposed to be the rescuer of some sort. Like maybe he represents new America trying to get rid of nuclear arms, or a new generation of people trying to get rid of nuclear bombs in general. I think that's what they were trying to go for when the clock like moves again. Like, we don't have to fear being annihilated by nuclear death anymore. I don't know. Sure.
Yeah.
I think that's what they were supposed to go for, but I don't know for sure.
Now they can start to rebuild Hill Valley from Back to the Future. They got nuked. The only thing left standing is the clock tower.
Marty, it's stupid. Then everyone chants bullshit and does stupid dances, yada, yada, yada. You know the drill by now. That's what this movie is. They all chant shit in unison nonstop and dance. It's just dumb. It's just dumb. Nick jumps up and says, "I'll karate chop you." Finally, someone I can identify with in this film. Then some carnival music starts, and a guy is wheeled in like they're changing the sets of a play in a little mini library room thing of some sort. I looked up a lot of the books that he was like quoting, and they're all like. So Heathcliff, I think was supposed to be from Wuthering Heights, and I'm sure that there's all sorts of other references. At a certain point, my eyes just started glazing over. Like I said, I look like that girl who was in the closet from The Ring by the end of breaking this movie down. I couldn't fucking take it anymore. He says, "All is in pain. You must surrender to fate. You have wandered off your path and stumbled into unknown danger." It's like a mental patient with ADHD smoked crack and wrote this movie. I think that there's a lot of things going on that we're supposed to be picking up. Yeah. But we're not, because it's just utter fucking nonsense. Just. Mm-hmm. You ever watch Turkish Star Wars? You ever see that?
Yeah.
Where you're like, man, this is going to be so fun to watch and make fun of, and how goofy it is. But your mind is just like, like it's just nonstop for like the first 8 minutes, and you're like, ha ha ha, and then your laugh button, like your brain just stops being able to laugh. It's like in South Park when Cartman sees the butt face people, and he like his laugh is just broken because he's seen the funniest thing he'll ever see, and he can't laugh ever again after that. That's what this. Yeah, that's what this is.
It's just there's so much absurdist surrealism that you can't handle it. You just shut off.
Non-stop ridiculous. Then the Rat Man and his Rat Clan, the guys who were dressed like Peter Pan characters, come at Nick, and he delivers the line he made famous in the critically acclaimed film from 1993, Deadfall. We all know it. Hi fucking ya.
Hi fucking ya! Hi fucking ya! Hi fucking ya!
That I've never heard him say that line in any other movie. Yeah. Had to have been a Deadfall homage. Hi fucking ya! Except he delivers it terribly in this one, and not as crazy as Eddie King in Deadfall. He then says, "You people are all fucking nuts." I could not agree more.
Yeah,
at least really there's somebody
like he was breaking
who's like
character.
Yeah,
just him.
How did I get in this movie?
It's first day of shooting. Yeah,
maybe this was the movie he was like, God, I need to do something serious again, and that's why he did Pig. Which, by the way, in 2021, his films were thus: Willy's Wonderland, Pig, Prisoners of the Ghostland. Oh, wow. Yeah. Pig sandwiched in between these two nonsensical. Willy's Wonderland at least made sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Even though it had fucking animatronic demons or whatever. At least it made sense and was coherent.
Yeah.
The preacher guy with the carnival music says his name is Enoch, and he runs this demented lunatic tribe and lets Hero know that he's in the Ghostland. He says it's a land of no escape, even though he drove there in like an hour from that goofy as hell town with cowboys in it and shit. It was like it was like he started driving and it was like evening, and then he's there and it's dark, or whatever. Or it's like the next morning. I don't know. It's like he's still on day one, I believe. He shows the crowd of deranged psychos the picture of Bernice and her friends. And the girl with blue hair says they were together. And after some more nonsensical shouting, someone says, "She's up in the mannequins." Oh, in the mannequins. First place I would have checked. Oh, God. This whole movie is full of weird-looking people saying random as fuck things to Nick Cage in an everly increasingly weird way. Did any of you see her? And that crazy old man, go find her yourself, but it's in Japanese or whatever.
Yeah. I liken it to the movie Cats. You've seen that?
Yes.
By the end of the movie, you're just kind of broken and just sort of accept everything that's happening, and it just gets more and more nonsensical somehow. But you're kind of like, whatever, fuck it, whatever, sure. Yeah,
everybody's dressed weird, and everything looks weird, and everything feels off and strange.
Judy just talking to me directly about raising cats. Whatever, it's fine. Like, it's the same kind of mental fatigue that just...
Do yourself an absolute treat. Head over to lovedagainmedia.com and buy yourself Cats for $1.50 or whatever. Just to watch it.
It's better. It's better than Prisoners of the Ghostland.
It's better than Prisoners of the Ghostland, I'll tell you that. Anyway, so up in the mannequins, there's a bunch of mannequins, as you'd expect. One has a rock. They also say
she's up in the mannequins, which is like 40 feet away from where they were standing earlier. It's right there. The same set.
Oh. One of the mannequins has a rock in its head. One is Nicolas Cage's fifth wife inside of it moaning. One is a member of that BTS boy band, I think. And one has our girl Bernice in it, who he uncovers just her eye and she tries to put it back because she wants to be a mannequin or something. And what the fuck was this supposed to be? Like she's trying to hide away in a different mask or something because she's been raped. I think that's what they were going for. Maybe, that's what these characters are supposed to be, is like...
And the Babadook is like says he's trying to protect him or whatever. Like he's trying to cover him up. And
yeah, maybe.
Could be, the symbolism for like retreating into yourself and shutting down that people with abuse go through.
Yeah,
that's why she loses her voice and like. Yeah.
And she doesn't want to come out of this mannequin. It's just all sorts of weird.
Again, it's like, okay, pick your nuclear Holocaust allegory and run with that. Don't
put a little rape
do that,
allegory
but then also throw like an abuse allegory and stuff into it and mix them together to see what happens. Just so
and a bunch of references to other Nick Cage movies for some reason too.
Right. And like put it in a Mad Max setting. That David Lynch directed. Like
the stew is just getting thicker and thicker, Nick fucking with these mannequins really pisses off that vampire in the top hat or whatever. So he does, exactly what you'd expect him to do in this movie by now. He shouts nonsense at him the whole time and spits on him as he talks.
The ghosts exploit their fear. They want power and freedom.
Did you see how like spraying spit on him while he talks? Like, yuck. This is in the COVID times, man. I think it was filmed pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID.
This is pre-COVID.
This came out in 2021, though. This is where I was going to say it started over in that region somewhere, I've heard.
Allegedly.
Bernice doesn't want to leave her protective mannequin cocoon, and the vampire guy says...
Little cookie, stay with us.
I guess,
very sexual.
Like I said, I think he's trying to protect her. I think that's what we're thinking it is here. He tells her to talk Hero does, and Enoch says that power has been taken from her. So Nick grabs her by the arm and says,
Your grandpa sent me to get you now. Time to go. Fuck home.
she reluctantly goes with him eventually, and on the way out, you guessed it, everyone shouts nonsense at them in unison. Oh, and Vampire Guy fits the blue-haired girl with her own mannequin cocoon. Neat.
Also, got to note when he grabs her arm, his arm beeps. Like,
Yeah.
Gonna blow his arm off for touching her or something.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah.
He has
His chastity suit.
strike a helpless woman.
Yeah. Ultimate chastity belt.
Which I guess he's pulling her later on when it goes off.
Yeah.
But he's being attacked by those zombies or whatever.
Yeah, I thought it was because he was trying to smack some of the zombies were women. Because I don't think
really?
arm. I don't think he had Bernice with that arm that blows up. He was trying to grab her with the other arm, and then I think he was like smacking the victim. Maybe it's trying to imply that those are innocent victims as well.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Whatever.
Stop trying to make
Stupid.
sense of it. Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah.
Act 2. Let's get some motivation up in this thing.
Hero carts Bernice to the nearby abandoned oil refinery, or whatever the hell this mismatch of concrete structures is supposed to be, where he bumps into Ratman and his Rat Clan, who are busy turning trucks into Pimp My Ride style carnival rides or something stupid. Ratman has an insanely annoying robot voice box thing that makes him sound like a garbage disposal taking a shit in every scene while wearing what I can only describe as crow wings made of wires with Christmas lights inside of them. Every single detail of this film is like describing the ramblings of a child who just huffed paint thinner for the first time. Anyways, Nick steals some of Ratman's gasoline while he screams incoherent gibberish, and some girls laugh nearby. He then fills up the Toyota Celica the townspeople gave him earlier that he wrecked because he drove it as some cosplayers or ghosts or whatever the goddamn hell happened in that fucking scene. He tries to get Bernice to speak into his Predator-style arm radio box thing so he can extend his time to 5 days, but she's busy, still being a mannequin or whatever the fuck she's doing. He tries to choke her into saying her name, which, usually works like a charm, but he's stopped by the explosive device in his jacket that magically reads his thoughts. So he calms himself instead of karate chopping her like I'm sure he wanted to do.
I did too.
I did.
At this point, I just wanted to karate chop everybody in the movie.
Me too. He takes off her mannequin pieces while saying,
Take it off. Take it. Take it off. Baby, take it. Take it off.
Then notices a scar on her leg, which prompts him to ask,
Oh, that's quite a scar you got there. You did that roller skating? Woo!
as you do, as you say, it's totally
Sorry, hero.
relatable.
We're supposed to,
This
sorry,
is
hero.
the rape scene of the film.
He gets increasingly more rapey as he yells to her to take off the mannequin parts, and then it makes her open her mouth like a blow-up doll and pours water in her mouth. I guess because he didn't want to get cooties from her lips on the canteen.
Hey, COVID.
Yeah, he's being conscious.
We're all new normal.
Yeah.
yeah.
This is how
He's
we have
being
to pour water into our loved ones' mouths from now on.
He laughs and says,
Oh, yeah.
at the sight of water spilling out of her mouth like she was just bukkakied or something. This makes him horny, I guess, because an explosive next to his junk blows off one of his testicles.
This was like, this is where I was like, okay, yeah, they're definitely going for a rape thing because she's like just sitting there like taking it. She's like, she's resigned herself to this. And she's just, her mouth is just, she's used to this kind of thing because of the governor. And like, this is what she expects from men, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
But I never got the implication that he was actually going to rape her.
No, but I think he was getting turned on,
Yeah.
And
I mean,
and we, as an audience, are supposed to imply the rapiness. I don't think that him in the scene was actually trying to rape her.
Right.
I think it was supposed to be a metaphor.
We're projecting
or
our own
whatever.
fantasies upon the actions.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you said that, not me.
I was just reading a review from Paul Schrader.
reading a review from Science Ono.
Allegedly. He runs around shrieking in a very cagey way while holding his blown off testicle, then stares at it and says something in Japanese that wasn't translated in the subtitles before passing out. If that barn burner of a scene doesn't make Nicolas Cage's lifetime achievement real, then what has this all been about?
What? I don't speak Japanese, obviously. What the hell did he say when he's looking at his testicle? He says something in Japanese. It's translated sometimes and it's not translated in other times. And I think it's supposed to we're supposed to look it up. Like we would give a fuck about looking up a random line from this nonsense.
Also, I can't write Japanese. So.
Yeah. Right. Am I supposed to put it in Google Translate up to the TV? And,
good idea.
What do you want from us, Science Ono? What do you want from us?
Yeah. We're just trying to enjoy ourselves.
He just wants to force his movie upon us. His movie.
Mm-hmm.
Just force it down our throats. Like that canteen water.
Oh God, we're gonna get shadow banned. Anyways, Bernice stares condescendingly down at Nick for 1 minute as he bleeds out while flashing back to that stupid crap about the bank again. We see the usual treat of sights we've enjoyed the first 40 times: stupid masks, pinwheels, nincompoops passing giant gumballs around, bubbles. You get the drift by now.
So you think that these balls, the gumballs that they're throwing around in his flashback or her flashback, whoever the hell, it's like supposed to be hers, but he's passed out because he's having a dream or whatever the hell. So you think that those balls have some sort of meaning towards potentially the rape allegory?
Maybe. I mean, it could also be like the runaway chain reaction of a nuclear explosion. You know, like that's what causes a nuclear explosion is the molecules all going haywire. Like that's supposed to be the bomb going off. Because he really liked that effect of the gumball machine exploding and all those balls fly because he shows it over and over and over
times,
again. So if we're still using the nuclear bomb part of the story allegory, then maybe that's what that was supposed to be. Yeah, the atoms.
I like
going
that.
Haywire.
Okay, I could see that.
Okay. Yeah, it's back to the nuclear bomb thing, not the child abuse thing or the rape thing or the American imperialism thing. It's one
or
allegory
the old
at a time.
Japan thing, or the Japanese mythology thing, or the glory hole in the wall. I don't think that's part of it.
The truck stop theme,
or the time theme
thing.
Hero and Nick Cassavetes stroll down the street with their guns out under a fun sign that reads, "Citizens pay your taxes or die like dogs." This is when I started to wonder if they must be in Florida. We see the whole bank scene again, open flame torches, everyone dressed in matching colorful pantsuits and raincoats. That whole scene again, except this time we see eyeliner sporting Nick Cassavetes shoot at the smiling gumball kid, but Hero stops him. They fight for a sec, and Nick Cassavetes goes full Mr. Blonde from Reservoir Dogs and just blasts everyone in the bank, including that little kid. Hero wakes up and is horrified at what his buddy just did and screams, "Your medication! I can't fucking stand this movie."
Take your medication? No, did you? Or did you take your medication?
Oh, yeah. Did you take your medication?
Later he says, you have a couple of shots of whiskey in you. You are the greatest. So was his medication whiskey? That's what calms him down to not murder people, not murder children.
Now it's an allegory for alcoholism.
Supplement.
Prefix. You take your prefix.
Prefix. Bullshit, man.
You ever see yourself drunk on the street and have your testicle blown off until you piss blood?
That would have been so much better. The fighting leads them to the street, accompanied by gumballs from that giant gumball machine we watched explode 18 times in slow motion when eyeliner shot at the kid the first time. All the doofuses in Catmass Town stare at these two fighting in the street until the cops show up. We see a woman and a kid who are the only people not wearing masks in this dream or flashback or whatever the fuck it is, who are immediately blasted by the cops while they try to shoot the bank robbers, which I have to say was pretty nice to see. There's at least some realism in this movie. And if we wanted to be more current, we'd say those cops would have just sat outside the bank until everything resolved itself.
Yeah. Then shoot them afterwards. Shoot the passerbys in.
Yeah.
My kid's in there. He's got a gumball machine.
It'll be fine.
You can't go in there, woman.
Anyway, yada, yada, yada. The kid turns out to be Bernice. Her mom died. The governor took Bernice as his granddaughter / love slave. And somehow this is all Hero's fault since he ran from the cops. Also, Nick Cassavetes yells that Hero is a traitor as he's arrested and seems perfectly fine despite being shot like 8 times by the cops.
There's a lot of that in this movie. People getting shot and being perfectly fine afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, we cut back to One Nut and Bernice, which is starring this fall. One Nut and Bernice, where Hero realizes who she is thanks to his ball being blown off triggered flashback.
We've all had one of those, right? Like,
Hey, Lois, remember that time I had my ball blown off?
Reminds me of the time I went to the bank.
Let's say South Park making fun of Family Guy, making fun of Prisoners of Ghostland.
He tells her he's sorry he got her shot. Whoopsies. And then the horn of Gandor, or the sound the ship makes from the War of the Worlds, suddenly sounds. Gondor? Is it Gandor?
Gandorf.
Gandorf.
Then Gandorf the wizard comes
Calls
in.
Gondolf to show up.
Gondorf. He tells her he's sorry that he got her shot. Whoopsies. Then the horn of Gondor. Hold on.
Jesus. Be more of a dork. God. We have Entertainment Earth sponsorship now.
You too can get the horn of Gondor. What the hell just happened?
The horn of Ognor.
He tells
the
her he's sorry he
Ocarina
got
of Gondor.
He tells her he's sorry that he got her shot. Whoopsies. And then the horn of Gondor, or the sound the ships from War of the Worlds suddenly sound from a distance.
It's the horn of Abraxas.
It's the horn of
Abraxas is easy to remember. We see the cosplayers again, this time accompanied by some dudes in prison outfits crawling on the ground like something out of The Ring, moaning like radioactive zombies while the Freddy Krueger looking dude watches on sporting aviators. You guys just gotta take a moment here and let that sink in.
See, that feels like a character that, you would just design as an action figure. And it's not like actually something that would show up in a real movie.
That description is like, when you're a kid and you're like, yeah, you learn about fire and you get a lighter and you start melting your toys.
Put some aviators on him.
Put some aviators. Oh my God, he's a badass. He survived a horrific battle.
and he went to prison. He's got a prison outfit on.
And now he's in a bus.
He's got a bus. And he's got some prison guys who crawl on the ground and some samurais. Oh, and that guy from the Capitol riot.
Oh man, Hero battles the zombies for a bit before another explosive goes off on his elbow, which sends the zombies away, but does very little to Nick. It's not the most effective explosive jacket, I guess. Then Freddy Krueger and the zombies all just disappear, like Ghost in this Ghostland.
So it looks like nothing happens to him, but he's like, oh, I got one arm now.
Yeah,
and
apparently it disables
you
his
have
arm.
like a flesh wound just on the top of your arm, and you're able to bend your arm and fight with it. You literally kill a fucking samurai with it later on in the movie. Yeah, just fine.
But that was after he put the metal on it.
Yeah. That fixed it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense now. But then the testicle thing is also like, wouldn't he have bled out from that too?
Yeah.
Or went into shock.
Or why is he able to walk around?
Somehow popped his testicle out from inside of his scrotum and the leather jacket onto the ground.
Yeah. Perfectly formed.
as all things should be. Hero passes out again, thanks to his elbow being turned into a hamburger, and it cuts to he and Bernice standing awkwardly in front of the giant clock from earlier, and the Aurora Borealis or something. Well, Flavor Flav screams, "Yeah, boy!" in the distance.
Should have had Flavor Flav show up with a clock.
That would have been perfect.
Everybody's holding down the second hand on his clock.
They listen to the nutcases from earlier. Thank God they're back. Reciting a story with some super cool graphic novel visuals in unison about how there was a massive nuclear power plant on this spot with the clock. Underneath it was nuclear waste, which was transported down the road, and the truck carrying it hit a group of convicts in a prison bus, which turned them into the stupid characters who are now ghosts or some shit.
Yeah, the nuclear explosion didn't obliterate them. It turned them into mutants.
So the buses colliding caused a huge nuclear explosion, but I ain't no expert when it comes to nuclear waste, but I'm 100% positive that wouldn't happen. But sure, movie. Sure it would.
Nuclear waste. So if two barrels knock into each other in Hanford, it would just cause a giant explosion.
Right?
No.
We're not talking about like the chain reaction that causes an explosion. It's nuclear
and
waste.
They said the trucks were hauling like magma, like molten nuclear waste.
Magma.
Like how?
Right.
It's not like it's
Liquid
hot.
magma.
I mean, I guess it is radioactive stuff can be warm, but like I don't think they transport like lava, radioactive lava around.
Maybe.
Causes a huge
Got some
explosion.
obsidian.
Turns guys into the Toxic Avenger.
Yeah.
So the explosion mixed with the nuclear waste below ground, causing everything to explode and get radioactive. Blah, 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 blah. You get the idea. It's science.
Yeah, everything just turns radioactive. Nuclear
This
waste.
is science.
This
science, you know.
spot like 10 feet from that town.
I listen to Imagine Dragons,
Radioactive.
and that's saying something.
Hero asks why no one helped, and these annoying bastards break into a Japanese monster voices, which isn't translated by the subtitles. So for the 1,000th time in this clusterfuck, we're all left baffled and annoyed. He asks how the hell he gets out of this place. Me too, Nick. I was wondering the same thing. And they again speak in untranslated Japanese monster voices. Seriously, fuck this movie. Why? They call him a hero for finding Space Cadet Bernice, and he wakes up on the ground. But they have Bernice in a mannequin thing, so he's a hero for rescuing her from them, then bringing her back to them? Like, I don't understand. Like, why is he a hero?
He's a hero because he came to rescue Bernice, who was being held in a mannequin by them.
Yeah.
By them.
But then he brings her back from the Ghostland to this
them?
compound of nuclear waste.
Or did she bring him back because he was passed out? But he's a hero. Who knows?
But that was in his dream, so that didn't actually happen.
Right. And yeah, in fact, like, did any of that last scene actually happen? Like we're talking about now, but could you guys honestly tell me what the fuck is going on? Like, what the hell is going on in this film?
It's just literal gibberish at this point.
Yeah, I know. I gave up.
Well,
if it comes to a
Bernice
certain point, if you watch this movie, you'll just give up. And
Yeah.
just, if you don't turn it off, if you have to, most people will just turn it off.
If you're critically
1,000.
thinking, I think if you're not, you're just kind of like, oh, cool, colors.
Just get stoned and watch this movie.
Lots of neat colors. There's gumballs. Pretty.
Gumballs.
Pretty.
Oh, I love gumballs,
Oh,
man.
cat masks. Cool. That guy's got a robot voice. Torches. Neat.
Bernice finally comes around and says her name into Hero's arm, giving him an extra 2 days to live. She screams like a nutcase for Hero to get up. The locals must really be wearing off on her. But that fun is interrupted by the film cutting back to Kabuki Cowboy Samurai Town. We see the governor surrounded by his harem of granddaughters who call him the greatest and most powerful clock. And your second hand is sharp and more dangerous than a knife. I just wanted to make sure that I emphasize clock because it could be mistaken with another word.
Like we get it, right? There's a ton of symbolism intended in this film, but it's so goddamn confusing and presented to us in a thick haze of comically ridiculous gobbledygook that we're having a fucking aneurysm just trying to like sit down and analyze it.
Yeah.
If Science Sono manages to outflank the legions of sexual assault victims currently after his head, my advice would be on his next English-speaking film to give us any coherence to latch onto so that the symbolism actually resonates and we're not scratching our fucking heads in baffled confusion for 2 solid hours or however long this movie is. Hour and 40 minutes.
Hour 40.
Oh, I felt every second of that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He could have easily added another 30 minutes of just stupid shit to this. So thankfully he didn't.
It does feel like this movie was a lot longer and then got hacked apart in the editing.
I guarantee you it got
Do you think it made sense?
Quite a bit.
Before they cut it down from 3
I don't think
or
it
4
did
hours?
because I don't know why they would cut it if they were trying to. I don't know. I felt like they were trying to make it some semblance of a.
Yeah. This
coherent
editor
movie.
deserves credit for putting together a movie that somewhat makes sense.
This
Makes
guy
sense.
who's only worked on short films somehow got tasked with this piece of shit. Had to somehow make sense out of all this crap.
Yeah.
Didn't do a great job. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Hey, I think
who
he
knows?
did the best he could.
Yeah.
Probably
given
did the best he
material.
could.
we
with
don't,
what
we
he
don't know
was
what the
handed.
original dailies and unedited and everything looked like.
When I watched this originally, I watched it on, I rented it, streaming rental. And there was like an extra scene, I feel like, of the governor marching down the street and all of them clapping in unison together down the road. And now it's like cut into a dream sequence in this. I swear that scene was in there. Maybe I just started hallucinating while I was watching it. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I swear there was a longer scene of that shot. And maybe somebody was like, that's just ridiculous. Let's cut that out.
Editing after they already released the film.
Yeah, I think so. Because I just watched when I did the breakdown, I watched it on Blu-ray. Which, by the way, the cover of the Blu-ray has Nick with 2 swords behind his back, which never happens in the film once. Just wanted to point that out. But anyways, I watched that version of it, and for instance, Cats. It was re-edited when they brought it out on actual hard copies. Not that anybody bought that except for me.
We bought Cats.
He just really
I
into
have
those
Cats.
cat
I bought it from
bodies.
Loved Again Media because it's cheap on Loved Again Media. Loved Again Media is an excellent place to go for movies that you're like, I don't really want to pay for this movie,
Right.
But it's $4 and I get a discount code, so fuck it. I'll just buy it.
Yep.
Not that I'm not. This isn't a plug for Loved Again Media. That comes later.
Anyway, the governor is happy that his mentally handicapped robot holding granddaughter we met earlier, still not sure if she's handicapped. Maybe she's just weird or traumatized or supposed to be a kid despite being an actress in her 20s.
Yeah.
Isn't sitting on his lap with the other 30 girls he has catering to his every whim. So the
Going for some
Cowboys,
sort of like geisha thing here.
yeah,
They sort of
like a
have that
modern
like
geisha.
face paint later on, or that's a dream.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. At some point, they have the face paint on for the geisha thing, and in this one, they have like partial face paint on. I don't know what that is.
That's the
One
the
Cage
movie
Podcast
has
at
that too.
gmail.com.
Yeah.
We don't have a fucking clue what's going on in this movie. If you can shed any light, if you're
Please
a
help
Japanese
us.
listener and some of this makes sense that we haven't been able to make sense of, write us at onecagepodcast at gmail.com so that we can dissect it. Oh my God. When we inevitably have to go back into this movie. Oh no. And back into the cage at some point. Once we haven't launched our Patreon, but we keep advertising it because someday we want to actually do that show at some point.
We just
And we
need
will
more
have to watch
viewers.
this piece of crap again.
Yeah, we just need more viewers to write in,
Yeah.
help us. give
Help
some
us.
content.
Help us watch these terrible movies again.
Yeah.
Or don't.
well,
Please don't.
Well, the Cowboys force her over to him, kind of for a second, but he interrupts them by saying Bernice has been gone for 2 days. Then he says,
Bring me America.
which causes his harem to shout some more gibberish in Japanese in unison because of fucking course it does. He calls for Samurai Guy to come to him with a paper bag full of money, which he throws at the girls while the governor says,
Make it rain, baby! Make it rain!
Are you guys getting all this? So come sit on my lap, bring me America, chanting nonsense in Japanese, throw money at girls. All this makes perfect sense to me. It's just like,
I feel like parts of it were like, America coming in after World War II and rebuilding the country. And
but it doesn't make sense in the fucking context of a scene like with real human beings. Like I get that you want to put symbolism in there, but it has to be like just slightly veiled under actual story and actual coherence in the story you're trying to tell us. Not just 5 random things happen. Come sit on my lap. And then he just stands up when they start to bring her over. Bring me America. Then he throws money at the geisha girls, which I get it. I get what the symbolism is there. It makes sense. Okay. Good job. Good job. But it doesn't make fucking sense as a movie. It doesn't tell me. It's not a scene. You just put 5 random things together and like.
Yeah. So much of this movie is just this happened and then this happened. And then this happens. Or I'm being told, I guess. Like
it's not an actual like story. It's just symbolism for the sake of symbolism on top of symbolism. Like make a music video. If you want to do this shit, make a music video. Don't make a fucking movie that's supposed to have a fucking storyline to it, okay? Damn it.
This movie broke Patrick.
We'll get into it in the review, but this is my least favorite movie we've ever talked about on this show.
Should we put you in a mannequin so you can heal and be safe?
Get him in a mannequin
Please
outfit.
save me. Please save
Little cookie.
me. Little cookie, stay with us.
Little cookie.
I want to stay with that vampire guy and have him spit on me.
All right. Well, so the girls shout and scream for the money while the governor yells for the cowboys to bring him all his daughters, including Susie, just a handicapped girl, because he wants her fresh young body, which causes Susie to scream, "Stop!" The governor whips around and says,
"Do you know when Bernice is coming back? Do you?"
Now, I ain't a grammar expert, as you all know, but fuck it, just never mind. This it's like Tommy Wiseau were Japanese and tried to write a plot as confusing as a Christopher Nolan movie in broken English. That's what this fucking movie reminds me of.
Did you know when Bernice is coming back? Do you?
That makes me look good at English. It only gets better from here. He then says, "Tick tock, tick tock. Time waits for no one." I'm guessing he's a big fan of TikTok.
Yeah, it's a big
and he was trying to get them all around and do some TikTok dances with them.
Maybe that's what this has all been about. Like,
when credits
girls
started, it should
filming
have showed the TikTok logo, like when you're watching the end of a TikTok video.
Maybe that's what like the girls were filming a TikTok video of Nick in the diaper at the beginning.
Put in some
That's
music.
where the TikTok started, and it just got more and more insane from there. And that's why all the dancing.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh
I
my
got
gosh, it makes sense. Well,
we've been
TikToked,
TikToked, guys.
We've been TikToked. We have a TikTok. Follow us, like, subscribe, whatever it is. Yeah, we got a TikTok. We will be dancing on there eventually.
I'm just gonna draw Nick Cage's cock and put it on the TikTok.
TikTok Nick Cock.
Hashtag TikTok Nick Cock.
Please start that. Hashtag Nick Cage TikTok.
I will.
Whatever.
I'll wait to this
TikTok.
episode, and then I'll hashtag it on this episode, and moving forward to be on every episode. Anyways,
until it happens, until we get cock in, we get confirmed Nick Cage cock in a movie that we do. Write us a hashtag.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
Nick Cock TikTok.
It'll be our hashtag Save the Snyderverse. So release the Snyder cut.
Or re-release Morbius. Okay. So he makes her repeat it. So Overbite Girl obliges over and over like a nutcase while Samurai Guy looks on with a melancholy frown for some reason. Then Fat Sheriff Cowboy yells, "The traitor has returned!" And we see, I'm guessing, the other girl that was in the car with Bernice and blue-haired girl at the beginning of the film. I'm guessing that's who it was. I didn't have the heart to go back and fucking verify.
No. I rewatched the beginning of the film, and it doesn't look like the same woman to me.
So there's just
like
another
maybe they couldn't
traitor.
Get the actress back, or she just looks way different.
She
this
shot
is a
that
different
one
chick
scene.
who ran off, and they were like, okay, so we have to show what will happen to Bernice if she's caught and brought back.
I don't know.
I don't know, dude.
But he wants her back.
The real
I think
crime
that's what we were
is
supposed to go for.
Make the sex.
This was
real
the third
crime
girl.
is the director just forcing women to be in this movie.
Yeah.
That's what he's been doing the whole time.
They got roles, though.
All right, so the movie acts like we're supposed to know who the fuck this person is with some dramatic music. And the governor asks her if she seduced Bernice into leaving. So I guess Bernice really is his favorite girl to rape from his harem. I guess
She does seem like it's his favorite.
She's the only
She's his
non-Japanese girl, so
yeah, she's
I guess
exotic.
maybe he's got an exotic taste. I don't know. I don't want to read into that. I have no idea.
Yeah, there
could be a Scion Sono thing.
Anyways, moving on. Samurai Guy pulls out a plastic looking rose I guess he had tucked up his ass and pops it on her shirt, then chops her head off. Meanwhile, the governor keeps repeating tick tock, well, Overbite Girl, the cowboys, and all the other girls repeat tick tock in unison. This is a great scene, you know. Fucking hate every nonsensical moment of this fucking film.
Just absolute visual splendor.
We cut to the preacher guy, Enoch, reading from his Heathcliff comic book or something, while the weirdo morons of the Ghostland shout at each other about how Bernice shouldn't have left the safety of their wacky nightmare world. Some overacting ensues, and Bernice shows back up to tell them Nick Cage is dead. They're all shocked that she can speak now. You know, that power had been taken away for like a day or something, and the preacher guy says no one escapes to Ghostland when she says they were attacked. This is making insanely good sense.
So he says in the very last scene that she'd been gone for 2 days. So she lost the ability to speak because she ran into those ghost guys.
Yeah, I guess. And she showed up
the
mute,
first
except
time?
she also
showed up
mute.
mute.
Woke
she
up
said,
and screamed, I'm not a prisoner.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then she was mute. Maybe she became a mute because she became a mannequin and mannequins don't speak.
So was that I'm not a prisoner scene maybe a flash forward from something that happened later on? Because it's exactly the same scene that happens later.
Yeah.
When they wake up before they're supposed to like all go together and fight the ghosts that just fuck off and leave for no reason because Nick Cage is friends with the head ghost.
Who fucking knows? We cut to Ratman and his rat clan doing stupid shit while Nick Cage strolls into some Ennio Morricone sounding cowboy hero music. They all stare at him with dumb looks on their dumb faces while some girl who cuts her own hair rings a bell while screaming gibberish. I guess Bernice is pretty stupid because she thought Hero was dead, but here he is to save the day or something. Who the fuck knows or cares anymore at this point?
Yeah, it's so great that we had all that time spent with Hero dead off screen. All 30 seconds of it, and then he shows up again.
30 seconds. He's dead. Oh no, he's just with Ratman.
No, he's fine. Yeah. I feel like this was like a callback to a who's the guy who does the spaghetti westerns?
Sergio Leone.
Sergio Leone. So I feel like this was a callback to something. I feel like there were a couple scenes similar to this where like the hero rides in and the little girl goes and rings a bell and it lets everybody know, oh, he's come back, the hero's returned or whatever. But we didn't have any setup at all for that. He's just like, oh, Tarantino steals from Sergio Leone, so I will take from Sergio Leone and just put it in my movie for no reason.
Pans out.
I mean, I'm sure that's exactly the thought process that went into this. I like a Tarantino. Do a Tarantino thing.
Fucking do a Tarantino thing.
He likes feet. I like rape.
Allegedly.
How come he gets to use the word and I don't get to say it? I need to be friends with Jamie Foxx.
Okay, so everyone stares at him like he's the second coming of Christ or something, and Bernice runs to him while Nick Cage stares at them all with a crazy, weird as hell look on his face. Like, even for Nick Cage, it was bizarre. This is what I'm telling you. Like, yeah, Face Off. I see Face Off. I see Troy. No, just joking. I don't see it at all. Fucking dumb thing for
the face is kind of, it's like, you know, the Joe thing where he's like, yeah, make a smile and then, or make a frowny face and then try and smile through it.
And smile.
Yeah.
Smile through it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He says, I always had the same dream. Well, the town clods ask, what did you see in unison? He says he saw the ruins, the people standing there, suffering. In a delivery that even for Nick Cage is over dramatic and ridiculous. He goes on to say that all the people he harmed came to him yesterday to help him, and with an increasingly crazed look on his face, he says, they helped me because I'm radioactive. What? The fuck? What the fuck?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Does that mean?
Sure.
That's totally earned.
That's why he murdered those children and they came to help him.
Yeah. He sees flashes of his victims posing for YouTube album covers, which tell him they'll give him another life, you know, like a video game, because he has a duty to complete, all while Bernice stares at him like he's her dad come home from the war or something. Or come home from getting that pack of cigarettes 12 years ago he said he was going out to get.
Maybe that's what this is like some sort of father thing.
Sure.
Like he's supposed to be dad.
Yeah. Yeah, throw that on there too.
Sure.
Throw it in the allegory stew and mix it up.
Just mix it up into a pile of shit that we're forced to choke down.
It's like if you mixed a bunch of beautiful colors all together, eventually they all turn brown and it just looks like
gross.
garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, that's cool. You can do that. You drop ink in things and swirl it. And it looks really cool. And
For a second, and then eventually it just turns brown.
You just keep throwing more colors into it and keep stirring it. Yeah. It's perfect. It's
Nonsensical stew. Yeah.
It's a perfect allegory for this movie, which this movie could have used a few more perfect allegories.
Yeah. Instead of muddled insanity.
Act 3. Time to resolve some shit.
We cut to Samurai Town, where the lovely inhabitants of the other set in this film that's not built on top of radioactive waste disposal sites enjoys a quite nice quiet evening that is rudely interrupted by some goofy-looking dude with a rape stash that calls out Yasujiro, a.k.a. Samurai Guy, to come out and fight him in the street. The movie acts like we're supposed to know who this is, but like every other thing that's happened so far, we don't really have an actual clue.
No idea.
Apparently he knows Yasujiro.
I think the idea was to introduce Yasujiro's sister.
Yeah, sure.
But in a very, very, very forced way.
Yeah. Yasujiro jumps down from a balcony to find like 20 dudes who appeared out of literally nowhere waiting for him. Oh, and the rape stash guy just disappears until like 20 minutes from now in the movie for some one scene. For some reason. Yasujiro's sister screams nearby. Why not? That she knows he's only there because the governor said he'd let her go if he worked for him, but she knows that's a lie and he'll never let him go. And then Yasujiro seems to agree because he kind of has this resigned look like, yeah, I know.
So I
like
guess
killing people.
This was all just to like set up why Yasujiro's there and what his motivations are.
Right. Sure.
But then he still tries to kill Nick Cage. Like, spoilers.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, I was wondering that. Like, why is this guy working for the governor, you know? But
yeah.
I figured it was like anything.
he's
He just
hired
gives him
bodyguard.
money. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like there
didn't need this
could
whole
have
B
been
plot.
an easier
Yeah.
way to...
Yeah.
Yasujiro, get over here or I'll kill your sister. You know that. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeehaw! No, get over here, Yasujiro.
The film cuts to the Babadook vampire top hat guy putting people in mannequin suits, and then heads spinning around in the glory hole, cuts out of a red wall, then the governor marching down the street with townspeople, then Bernice waking up from a nightmare. So was everything part of a nightmare? Was the samurai guy killing 20 guys in the street? Or was that real? Or Or was it all a nightmare? Who knows? Who cares?
I thought that maybe that's why it was supposed to be more surreal in that, but I just think it was bad.
You can't tell. Everything is
filmmaking
surreal.
Because like those 20 guys just appeared out of nowhere. They weren't there at the second before. And then Rape Stash guy just disappears completely.
Ninja.
And they needed a cool scene
There
where
we go.
Yasujiro samurai fights a bunch of people because
For no fucking reason.
because
and it also
the director
happens.
watched a lot of samurai movies,
Yeah.
which are cool.
He also,
but
yeah. You gotta have a villain.
Maybe the villain of this movie is San Sono. Maybe that's what we were supposed to get
I think he's the villain. Yeah, I think he's definitely the villain.
yeah.
in life.
Allegedly.
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 All right, we cut to all the guys holding down the second hand of the big clock, but this time it's accompanied by some horrible off-key singing. So that's fun. Hero wanders around Ghostland or whatever the hell we're calling this ridiculous concrete shithole, looking annoyed by all the idiots shouting nonsense, like the rest of us. He tells Bernice it's time to leave while the townsfolk make dumb faces and scream and stuff, but you probably guessed that's what they're up to. Hero makes a big, over-the-top, ridiculous speech to the Ghostlanders about how he's leading these obvious credits to society out of the Ghostland and back to the normal world, if that's even a thing in this fucked-up reality of Science Zono's imagining. But, he's now the Messiah, I guess. So, because the movie said he is, so that's what we got to go with.
Yeah.
Wait, so
part
is
of
this
the prophecy.
Is
It's
this
got red blood.
symbolism for
Got
the
it now.
Japanese
It's in his blood.
finding Christ?
Yeah, maybe,
Christian
maybe that's what it
missionaries
is.
showing up and leading them out back to their hellscape.
I'm sure there are some people who think that was, pre-World War II. They were more into Shintoism and all that kind of stuff. And then they found Christ because it was forced upon them by
was
the
dropped
Western
from the
world.
sky.
It was dropped from the
Twice.
sky on them a few times.
The power of God compels
Maybe that's
you.
what this
Sure.
is. Maybe he's
Add it to
supposed
the
to be
stew.
Christ. Okay.
Yeah, add it to the stew.
All right.
He says, so Hero says, if you'd have told me 3 days ago I'd be trying to reason with you bitches with one arm and one testicle, I'd have thought it was impossible too. And he also says bitches like he does in exactly like he does in Wicker Man when he's yelling at him all trying to break his legs. You bitches!
Yo, bitches.
Killing
me will bring your goddamn honey back.
He says that they can stop them, and Bernice says if they don't, they'll break free and rule the world. The dopey radioactive zombie prison guys, just 12 of them, and they don't really seem to do anything. What? That's what everybody's scared of? The prison zombies who stand around outside of a bus, they're going to rule the world or something? This is where the movie's going now? Or is he trying to talk about, the governor's going to rule the world or something?
Yeah. I don't know.
But anyway, it's
I'm guessing that
Hero's
it's
going to go back and
symbolism
stop
again.
both of them. Yeah, sure.
Radioactivity will take over the world if we don't stop this from spreading.
Yeah, I mean, nuclear proliferation and all that, maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, They're still holding down the second hand on the doomsday clock, trying to stop it from hitting not midnight, but whatever. We'll get to that.
8:15.
Yeah. Hero says he's still got 1 day to tear this shit apart. So they can either help him or rot, even though they literally just stay there.
I think they planned to rot there.
Yeah, that's what they wanted to do this whole time.
And they're
They were
super
telling him,
excited
yeah.
when they get to rot in that
Right.
place.
That's what they wanted. Yeah, they don't. It's not like they're being kept there. It sounds like they just want to stay there. Next, we see Ratman and his Rat Clan doing stupid things as they're prone to do. Hero says, "Hey, Ratman, I know you're intelligent," which is categorically false, and goes on to say, "Oh, you make a deal. I'll give you some cheese and maybe some pickled fish." Just wall to wall, utter drivel. Then he sees Ratman and says, "There you are," because Science Sono also saw the Nick Cage movie we've watched and decided to rip lines directly for this film.
Rabbit! There you are! There you are!
Ratman, Hero,
I don't know
Bernice.
if that was an intentional homage to Vampire's Kiss, but he does
It had
point
to
and he
be.
goes, "There you are."
Yeah.
But not in the same way, because I'm sure Nick Cage just didn't want to do it that way. He probably was It's like
It's like this movie doesn't deserve a Vampire's Kiss reference.
or Kevin Smith talking about how when he was doing that's terrible movie that he did with Bruce Willis.
Live Free or Die Hard.
No, the other
Cop
one.
Out. Cop Out.
Cop Out. He said he told Bruce Willis to give him a delivery from how he did in Moonlighting, which was a TV show that Bruce Willis did in the 80s. And he was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to reference something I did 30 years ago.
I'm not a fucking monkey.
Stupid movie.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not going to do the dance.
But then he actually did deliver and gave him exactly the same line read that he did in Moonlighting. So I'm assuming that was what Silent Sona did, and Nick Cage eventually was like, no, I'm not doing it the way that I did in that movie.
Ratman, Bernice, Hero, and all the other stupid characters in this wasteland work together to fix like 20 rusted out cars that have been sitting there being welded on and torn apart by Ratman and his gang of Lost Boys for God knows how long. Oh, and Nick Cage does the "Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him well" line from Hamlet to a football helmet, because why not?
Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him well.
Except the subtitles have stopped giving a fuck about this movie too, because according to them, he says, "The last poor you are, I knew him well." I don't know if you saw that.
Even the people doing the subtitles.
The algorithm automatically doing subtitles just stopped caring.
Just turn auto on. Who cares?
The last poor you are, I knew him well.
Maybe that's why the Japanese isn't translated in this movie. It's just the subtitle people gave up.
Yeah,
They fucking
like the rest of us.
Then a guy just freaks out for no reason, saying they're all going to die if they touch blue butterflies. The thing about words is sometimes they have to make sense when you put them together. It also helps if sentences go together and form like coherent thoughts or something.
So
anyway,
he sees a blue butterfly later on at the very, very end of a town that isn't the town that they're in, but a future town that they're in. But I have to assume there was some symbolism to the blue butterfly thing that went completely over my head, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Something to do with nuclear?
Sure. I don't know.
Or Japanese mythology.
Maybe.
Could be.
I just don't know or give
Forgive
a
us,
shit anymore.
ignorant gaijin, or forgive us, ignorant gaijin, but I don't know. Didn't make
Is
sense.
that Japanese? Gaijin?
Gaijin means white devil.
Yeah, it's,
Oh,
or
white
something
devil.
like that, or foreigner, or something like that.
yeah, it's like slang, like a disrespectful slang. So I learned that in Tokyo Drift.
Yeah, it's like saying
Actually-
whitey or something.
It's like saying cracker.
All my Japanese, all the stuff I know about
learned from
Japanese
Tokyo
culture came from Tokyo Drift.
Anyway, these assholes managed to fix all the shitbox cars they had lying around by sundown, and they decide to saw metal and cause sparks and dance around like children while they shit in their hands and hurl feces in the air, whatever the fuck is happening at this point. It looks cool, I guess.
Neat.
It looks nice. There's neon lights and carnival lights and sparks and stuff, whatever. The next morning, Hero screws some pieces of metal onto his arm because Ash Williams did it in Army of Darkness, I guess. While the girl who cuts her own hair watches him. What a great scene.
It's like Rambo suiting up.
Yeah.
Ready.
Except he just kind of goes, screws some stuff, and then goes,
He's the Tin Man.
Is the Tin Man?
I mean, how? I mean, is that so? The explosive was on his elbow. Maybe his elbow has been rendered helpless.
useless, so he just sort of locks his arm in place with a metal.
There's no way he would be able to move his arm up and down without his elbow being able to operate. Mm-hmm. Even if he had that metal thing on his arm.
I thought that was the thing, though. Like, that thing was to lock his arm in place, and now he's got like a metal arm that he can hit stuff with or turn into a sword later on.
Just assumed there wouldn't be any logic to it whatsoever.
Yeah, well, because he does it in Army of Darkness.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Puts the metal gauntlet on and then crushes a thing.
Good enough.
The gaggle of doofuses heads out of the Ghostland together. After like 8 steps, they run into Freddy Krueger and his friends. Not even kidding. Bernice says, let's go. They take 8 steps. You can still see the clock tower right behind them, and they run into the ghosts. They don't even leave the set. Turns out Freddy Krueger was Nick Cassavetes the whole time, who saw that twist coming a mile away. Like, seriously. I didn't, actually. But whatever.
The second he showed up in the first scene and like had his aviators on, I was like, oh, that's Nick Cassavetes.
Just to hide the eyeliner.
I was like, hey, isn't that the guy that directed The Notebook? What's he doing here?
Well, Hero is just stoked to see him and runs up to give him a big hug, but stops when he realizes he's gross looking. Then he asks Psycho, which I guess is the character's name, how he is, but Psycho says he's burning in nuclear hell like everyone else. You ever do that? You ever burn in fucking hell because your friend betrayed you? I think we can all relate since we've had to watch this movie. Hero says Psycho was so much fun when he had a couple of shots of whiskey in him, but then he started blowing up little kids. Again, we've all been there. Relationships are hard. It requires a lot of give and take to maintain a solid friendship for years. If I found out a friend of mine was blowing kids, I'd be devastated. Blowing up kids. Sorry.
I found out one of you guys was blowing kids.
I'm glad
You
we
used
moved
to
on
be
from
such
dead
a
baby jokes.
fun
Generally
person.
frown on
2
that.
shots of whiskey and then you started blowing kids.
I think that's what somebody said to Kevin Spacey once.
Yeah, I think so. Used to be great, man. You were 7 and all those great movies.
Then Hero gives some forced unearned line about how people he hurt actually needed him for help, which is the mother of all personal narrative choices to make in order to forgive yourself from killing children. Anyway, and Freddy Krueger and his goofy friends are all cool with letting the prisoners of the Ghostland go, since the real predators in this movie are the governor. Sure. Okay, whatever. At this point, I don't care anymore. I just want this piece of shit to wrap up. And then he does a little...
They like spent all this time building up this like
Yeah,
epic
they even had a
battle between them
montage
and the ghosts, and then they're just like, oh yeah, sure.
No, go ahead.
Cool.
So then he does a little YMCA dance, and a huge nuclear explosion happens, which causes all of the ghosts to vanish, I guess. Just a patchwork of utter nonsense. Like a finger painting done by someone with Parkinson's. Looks pretty, but it doesn't make any goddamn sense. We cut back to Samurai Town, which is what it's still called. Overbite handicapped girl plays with her toy robot while the governor does some slam poetry saying, "For the sake of me, birds will fall from the sky. Lions and tigers will bow before me. For the sake of me, mountains and forests would burn themselves down. For the sake of me, everything will be mine. Welcome to my animal farm. Long live Animal Farm." It's like when a teenager goes way into pot and poetry and thinks they've written the deepest shit ever, but it turns out to be absolute gibberish. The governor makes Jeremiah from Children of the New Dawn look like fucking Aristotle.
I was going to say, I think he ripped off those lyrics from a Nickelback song.
I thought you were going to go on another Yee thing. I was like, oh no.
No.
Here it goes.
Nah,
Anyway.
he's more genius than that.
I mean, that little thing that he says is exactly, for the sake of the white rich man, the whole world will fucking burn and lions and creatures will just bow before me. That all makes sense. I get that. And unlike that weird shit that the holes in the wall or the heads in the wall were saying earlier, that didn't make any sense. But but it may, like I said, I think it's something to do with Japanese mythology, and it probably would make perfect sense.
Yeah, we're missing a whole
us.
bunch of references.
Yeah.
So then the whole town chants, "Long live the Animal Farm forever," over and over. I guess you could equate this movie to Animal Farm if you'd read Animal Farm on LSD and tried to rewrite it in Yiddish before having someone else translate it back into English. All animals are ghosts, but some animals are more radioactive than others. I like that.
Animal Farm, anybody? Anybody read Animal Farm? What's the actually? It's all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others.
Yeah. Because the pigs are capitalists or communists or something. I don't know. The horse is a communist. I don't remember. I read it when I was in 9th grade.
Yeah,
I liked it because it had talking animals.
That's what Orwell was going for, was get the kids in on it.
By the way, that they're chanting all this shit while just kind of standing in the street for absolutely no reason. Just what you do on Tuesday nights in Samurai Town. Streaming this fall, Tuesday nights in Samurai Town.
On after One Nut and Bernice.
After One Nut and Bernice.
Bernice and Hero show up at the end of the street, but no one saw them coming, including the crazy robot toy-holding girl who was just looking in their direction the entire time this scene was happening. A cowboy guy yells, "There!" and points them out in case 30 people standing like a choir together all looking that direction couldn't figure out what he was talking about. The cowboys and ninjas or whatever surround them, and the governor is overjoyed to see his sex slave come back. He gives her a big hug, and Hero asks for the key to his explosive suit, to which the governor says, "I wouldn't give you a drop of piss, you degenerate," which is a phrase that pops into my head every time Ticketmaster charges me a convenience fee. Hero grabs Bernice and threatens to cut her throat, and for some reason, Susie, the little handicapped overbite girl, runs to a nearby minigun, like from Terminator 2, and just starts mowing everyone down in the town. Why the hell not?
This was so. I wondered here if Yasujiro only saw that, you know, he was like holding her captive and stuff, and that's why he fights him later on, and not that he and Bernice were together. That was my rationale.
I think it might just be he's wanted to fight this guy since he saw him take a bike because he looked so cool, and he wanted to test himself against it.
He saw his dong. He just envious.
As soon as he saw that dog, man, he's so cool.
Americans have such big penis.
He's a badass.
He's a badass.
So anyway, the robot girl shoots the cowboys, the samurais, the harem of granddaughters who inexplicably show up again in like 2 scenes, except everyone except Hero, Bernice, and the governor, who all watch on as baffled as the rest of us until another cowboy blasts her a couple times in the chest. Bernice and Hero are surrounded again, and Japanese cowboy shoots her for no reason whatsoever. So Hero charges these guys with guns, who all just scatter rather than like shoot him. He football slides at them and starts beating them up while they all just stand there with guns pointed at him. None of them shoot. They just take turns being beaten up. Finally, he picks up a gun, and they remember how to shoot on their own, but he shoots like everyone in the town, and they all die using the exact same death grunt sound effects from GoldenEye on the Nintendo 64. And what I honestly can't tell is supposed to be an intentional homage, or if Scion Sono just pulled them from the same royalty-free sound effects CD from the early 90s. And I'll 2 guesses onto which one of those 2 is actually true. But it's seriously, it's like, wait, it's the same exact sound effects that you hear hundreds of times when you play GoldenEye, and he plays like 4 of them in a row while he's like beating all these guys up. Like, so sound effects are burned into my mind.
I mean, both things are very, very possible.
And it's the only time that I could tell that they use them in the movie, and it's like right there, right, one after the other. So I don't know.
I feel like there was a little bit of like video game stuff going on in this movie, like the
4 days on the arm
past.
tracker feels like video games. Like, you got 4 days to do this, and it's a fetch quest. Like, go get her. She'll talk into this. We'll give you 2 more days to come back, and
yeah.
So Scion Sono, also
big gamer.
Yeah, I mean, we know his attitude towards women, so that makes sense.
God damn it.
Bernice wheels Susie down the street in a cart, and she asks, "Bernice, am I going to die?" And she says, "Jesus, I hope so." Oh, wait, no. She says, "No, sweetie." And like 20 samurai guys pop out of nowhere and chase her down the street before Yasujiro stops her. He gives her a look and then kills the samurai guys, letting her go. Somehow, Nick Cage gets a samurai blade attached to his arm after punching a guy in the stomach. It's like fused to his fingers, like his hand's all mangled and holding this sword now. Mm-hmm.
He had like a mannequin hand at the end, or
is that what it was?
Maybe when it was walking through, but then
so it was supposed to be like
point, it was like his arm was cut off and it stuck in there.
Maybe that was his arm was supposed to have been blown off in the script, but they couldn't do it because it's hard to show that practically halfway through a movie.
How do you even do that? I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe he cut it off with a chainsaw like Ash Williams, and then they put a mannequin.
It was definitely, I think that's what they were going for, was that he had like a sword for an arm suddenly.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a sword on his arm. And he kills like 5 guys surrounding him with it, despite not coming anywhere close to hitting them. He just sort of swings around in a circle and slashes all of them.
Yeah.
We see Bernice drop Susie in a neon light covered alleyway or something, and she says that she's not a prisoner anymore. She leaves her to die, hopefully. After telling her, you'll be safe here, even though she's just laying out in the open in a well-lit street with a bunch
Governor
of people
finds her
murdering
like
everybody.
immediately.
Yeah. And then she must have gotten the skills of a samurai plugged into her head, like that scene where Neo learns to fight Kung Fu in The Matrix, because she's suddenly amazing at sword fighting. And by the way, you might recall that she was also shot a few minutes ago, but we'll just forget that detail for the rest of the film.
Yeah. That's not important.
So she kills like 4 samurai, and then that one guy from earlier with the rape stash just completely disappeared from that one scene. Who can forget that scene? And when she kills him, and then we get to watch blood spurt out of his chest for like 30 seconds, despite her slicing him across the throat. But that's a Japanese trope, I think,
Yeah.
Kill Bill style.
See, that was another Tarantino thing, I think.
Yeah.
But
it was just like egregious,
stole
like
from another samurai film and then put it into his film, and then Science Ono watched that film and put it into his film, and then there was the one where they like sliced his throat in a lantern.
It sprays. Yeah. She slices the right side of his throat, and then the left side of it gushes a bunch of blood into the lantern, if you notice. So this is like she slices his throat, and then like from his chest, a bunch of blood erupts out.
Yeah.
Yasujiro catches up with Hiro, and I guess he missed the memo about him being a good guy or something, because he immediately attacks him. Like, what side is Yasujiro even supposed to be on at this point? Like, his sister is being held by the governor, so he fights for him, but he protected Bernice, who turned on the governor. So maybe it's like when Michael Scott forgot that he made the president the bad guy in Threat Level Midnight. Keep in mind that the governor said Yasujiro has never had a worthy opponent in his life, and is the baddest motherfucker in the whole movie. He and Hiro fight for a minute before Yasujiro kicks Nick in his missing testicle, which causes a bell to ring and both of them to stop and take a breather. Comedy. That's when he goes, fuck! I think too, right after he gets hit.
Fuck!
Yeah.
That's another
I think
Cage moment.
he hit Yasujiro in the balls too.
Yeah.
Right?
They hit each other in the balls. He punches him, and then, the governor finds his harem looting his house. Wait, weren't they all shot a minute ago by the chain gun? They all call him a loser and bail. He goes looking for Susie while crying like a bitch into the night. What a great scene. So, like, the only power he had over these people was all that money. But does he not have a bank account? And now if he's rich, then why did 15 girls just take all his money? Like, how much money could he really have if they could all just cart it off and he just cries and runs away?
I get the symbolism of it, but again, it doesn't make any fucking sense in the context of this movie. That's the thing about symbolism, is you have to, like,
work it in with the story you're telling. Back to Yasujiro and Hiro, the highly trained expert swordsman, and the guy who was a bank robber, fighting in the street while cherry blossoms fall from the sky. But just FYI, cherry blossoms don't continuously fall from the sky year-round in Japan, but despite what a lot of movies seem to show. But it's cool, so he had to do it.
Yeah. It's contractually obligated. If you're making any movie in Japan, you have to have cherry blossoms.
Yeah, you know that like 1 week out of the year where cherry blossoms fall out of trees? That's all year in Japan, apparently.
All year.
Anyway, they put their weapons away for a second. Then Yasujiro goes to kill Hiro, but Hiro slices him across the stomach, samurai movie style, and he dies. What an amazing end for an incredibly well-written and complex character. And I guess Hiro is a samurai, can fight with a katana like crazy now.
Yeah. Well, it's lodged into his arm, so it's just like part of him now, you know?
Sure. Yeah. He can even bend his elbow, even though we saw him fuse his arm straight out. We see the governor has found Susie and that she's not stoked to be raped by Colonel Sanders in her dying moments, so she scurries away. Bernice pulls a gun on him as soon as he rips the key to Hero's suit from his neck. She unloads the gun into him after he calls her a back alley bitch and a slut. And so she says, from all the sweet bitches, after she kills him. Hero deactivates the explosive suit, and then he and Bernice share a long glance. Back in the Ghostland, the ragtag group of nutcases, I guess, we're supposed to give a shit about at this point in the movie, decide that the governor is dead and everything is just groovy now, even though they're still living in a radioactive nuclear wasteland. But
the ghosts took that away, though. They, you know.
The nuclear explosion cleared the nuclear fallout.
Yes. Yes. Right. I think that's what they were going for. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how that works, right?
Yeah,
it's
use a nuke to blow away more nukes. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
After the tsunami, that's what they did at the power plant there. They just nuked it.
Isn't that what the whole Cold War was about? The only way to stop a nuke is with more nukes?
With more nukes?
Or are they around to something?
Maybe that's what... I never want to give this guy credit, but maybe that's what he was going for.
How absurd it is. The concept. Well, all the villagers cheer and dance and sing stupid songs in unison and make stupid faces, you know, the stuff that they're great at. And they decide that they are now, quote, free from time. So they let the clock start ticking again. And then the clock blows up when it hits 8:15 because that's the time that Hiroshima was bombed, I guess. But weren't they trying to stop the clock from blowing up? They even said it was going to blow up if they let it go, but now they're okay with letting it go because blowing up frees them.
But maybe the explosion would have been bigger if they would have let... So if the people of Japan would have used their nukes, then they would have been blown up. But now, white guy governor, so the other white countries with the bombs, Russia and us, we're no longer a threat. So now they can let time go and only their bombs go off.
Yeah.
Is this all just one big metaphor for the afterlife? Like, is this...
Yeah, that's kind of what I felt. I felt that the ghosts of the... One of the interpretations, I guess, at some point, depending on which scene you watch in the movie, I suppose, is that, like, the prisoners of the Ghostland are all the souls that were killed by the nuclear bomb, and this is, like... Yeah. They've ended the threat of nuclear superpowers, and now they can all be free and not have to, you know, they didn't all die in vain or something. I don't know.
I thought maybe they were going for everybody in this movie is a ghost. And they are all battling each other in the afterlife, blaming each other for their deaths in some way.
Sure.
And now they can ascend to heaven or whatever.
Yeah. Well, either way, everyone's overjoyed and crying as their home blows up. And I think we would be too if we had any fucking idea what was supposed to be happening at this point. So maybe the movie will explain it at some point. Oh, what? Yeah. There's only a minute and a half left of screen time? Okay. Anyway, the next day, chickens poke at the bodies of hundreds of cowboys and samurais lining the streets while Hero, Bernice, and Susie with 3 gunshot wounds in the chest all wait for a bus. Hero sees a blue butterfly in a shop nearby where I guess the people of the town are just stepping over bodies to get on with their day, as if this is an acid flashback or something. And Hero says, Samurai Town's going to be a beautiful place one day, and they all walk down the street chugging out of a flask. The end.
The end.
I think you're onto something there. It was like, this is all the afterlife, and they've all just been stuck in this hell forever, purgatory or whatever you want to call it. Purgatory.
And that's why nothing makes sense. It's almost like a Jacob's Ladder type of thing. Like, I don't know if you guys saw Jacob's Ladder, but it was like the entire movie is his like last moments of his brain synapses firing when he was killed in Vietnam. Spoilers for Jacob's Ladder, movie that came out 30 years ago, but that's what happens in that movie.
That's on my list to watch next.
Yeah.
So maybe that's
makes
what they're going
sense.
for.
As much sense as anything else.
Mm-hmm.